Let's take a look at Andor from Disney. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Don't forget to hit the share button, hit the like button, definitely hit the subscribe button, and 100% leave a comment in the comment section down below, because I want to know what everyone thinks of this TV show so far. Andor. It dropped last Wednesday. I've watched it 2 or 3 times now just to try and get my own angle to see what I actually think. When I first watched it, I sat and watched it with my sister, who was a Star Wars fan. She's not so sure now. We sat and watched it, and for the most part I actually enjoyed the series. I did a little bit of analysis over the next couple of days, see if I could find any faults or any flaws, anything wrong with any of the characters. And to be fair, if you are a Star Wars fan, you're going to know what's coming, because basically this TV show is a prequel to a prequel, and it's also a sequel to the prequels, if that makes any sense whatsoever. The main character, Cassian Andor, we saw in Rogue One, so we pretty much know where things are going to end up. We know that it was part of the rebellion. So if you're going to go into this TV series and you've got that information, you know that he is eventually going to join the rebellion. I think if you are a normie, if you're just coming into this TV show because you fancy some science fiction, I don't know if you will, and this is by no means trying to belittle anybody's intelligence here, but I don't think you'll know what is going on. It's not easy to read what is going on. My sister actually turned to me about 15 or 20 minutes into the show and she said, "What is this about?" She'd seen Rogue One, but it was it 2017 or 2018 when that came out, and her memory's not the best, and I don't think she even enjoyed the movie. But she asked me what is this thing about, and I explained that Cassian Andor is about to join the rebellion, help the rebels fight the Empire. But what is it about in itself, the first 3 episodes themselves? The basic gist of the story is that it's a manhunt. Cassian Andor, within the first 10 minutes, commits 2 murders. One of them is definitely manslaughter. He kills a guy accidentally. He works for a security firm. He accidentally kills this guy, and the guy's partner says, "Look, we'll say it was an accident. Come with me. I'll explain everything." And then Andor shoots him in the face, which makes him a cold-blooded, dirty murderer. That's not a good character trait. He turns out to be a murderer. He turns out to be a liar. He gets his friends to try and cover up for him. He tells lies to his adopted mother. His character just doesn't come across as very likeable from the outset. I mean, you've got to have some sort of empathy for your protagonist. Sorry, I should have said spoiler alert. I'll get into some mild spoilers. If you haven't already seen this and you don't want anything spoiled, then switch off this video or come back to it when you've watched the series. This is how I think the episodes went. Episode 1, murder, escape. Episode 2, he gets found out, tries to escape. Episode 3, Stellan Skarsgård turns up, and they do escape. And that's about it really, and all the other stuff that happens in between. Now then, let me go through the characters, because I think that's important. Because one thing I've found about Disney Star Wars is that Disney cannot write decent characters for shit. I'm sorry, but you can't. You just don't get very good character arcs or character structure or character background or decent character anything. So our main protagonist, Cassian Andor, played by Diego Luna, who does an alright job, I suppose. The guy's got 68 credits under his belt on IMDb if you want to go and find out what else he's been in. He was in Narcos Mexico, and he was in Elysium. I've seen him in Open Range, a cowboy movie. So what can you say about his character? It doesn't really go into any depth. I'm 3 episodes in and I don't really know anything about him. The only thing we find out about him is through a series of flashbacks, like we saw in Boba Fett. Jesus Christ. The Book of Boba Fett. Rubbish. You see flashbacks of him. He's on another planet and he's with a tribe, and for some reason they don't use any subtitles whenever the tribe, it's a bunch of kids, it looks like a bunch of teenagers. He keeps going back to them, hunting and walking through the forest and talking to each other. Obviously we can't understand a word they're saying because there's no subtitles. Don't know why. We find out that on one particular occasion they stumble across a crashed frigate, spaceship frigate. Don't know whether it's Imperial, whether it's Separatist, whether it's Republic or what. We don't know. It's crashed. They find they don't find survivors. They find the ship. They find a few dead people strewn around the place. One of them goes to investigate. She ends up getting shot in the back. So the rest of the gang use blow darts to take down the guy that shot the girl in the back. They all panic and run away. Andor doesn't. You see Andor coming back to the ship. He climbs into the ship, finds himself inside the cockpit, starts smashing the place up. At which point we see Fiona Shaw, who plays Marva. What an excellent performance from her. If you look her up, she's been in all sorts. She was in Harry Potter. She was his horrible aunt, Petunia Dursley. She's such a brilliant actress. Anyway, Marva turns up. They realise that there are Imperial ships on the way, so it's time to escape. They haven't got time to get rid of the kid, who is Cassian. So they knock him out with a tranquilizer and off they go. And that's basically his backstory. He was rescued by Fiona Shaw and took to whatever planet, and she brought him up. That's about all we know. The only other thing we know is that he's a murderer and a liar because he like I said earlier, he murders these two guys. Other than that, he just goes around for the most part trying to escape from the planet, trying to dodge justice, if you like. Right, enough about him. The guy that ends up chasing Cassian Andor down has got to be one of the best characters that Disney Star Wars has come up with in a long time. The character's Cyril Khan, and he's played by Kyle Soller. Now, the guy hasn't got that many credits to his name on IMDb. He's got something like 34, but he has done a lot of TV series. Paul Dark was one of them. He's been in a few movies, including The Secret of Marrowbone. But he comes across as a very accomplished and very competent actor. Now, Cyril appoints himself lead investigator into the murder of his two colleagues after the chief inspector actually tells him, in a scene that I thought was pretty brutal, it's a scene in which his chief inspector tells him to just cover this up because he doesn't want the Empire sticking their nose in and finding out that their crime rates are up, etc. So he tells Cyril to stand down, cover it up, make it look like an accident, make the guys look like heroes that were trying to help somebody, and it just thing got out of hand and it just all went wrong because they were in a brothel, they were drinking, they were doing all sorts of shit that was against company procedures and protocols and rules and regulations, etc. The chief inspector, or Chief Hine, is played by a guy called, look him up, a guy called Rupert Van Stittet. He's a character actor, a British character actor. He's got 106 credits under his belt on IMDb. You can so tell he's just a seasoned veteran because his performance is pretty remarkable and pretty outstanding. He asks Cyril at one point, have you modified your uniform? And Cyril says, yes, I've added a little bit of piping, I've done a bit of tailoring, which indicates a little bit of a character trait for Cyril, is that he's very by the book, but he likes to be seen as being very smart in his uniform and very forthright. I thought that was a nice little touch, nice little character trait there. But he's turning into be a really great character. I'm actually almost kind of rooting for him. There's a character called Luthen Rael, and he's played by one of my favourite actors, Stellan Skarsgård. Just brings a touch of class, as did Fiona Shaw. Brings a touch of class to the show. He's such a brilliant actor. He's got the gravitas, he's got the chops, and he's got the presence. As soon as he appears on screen, you know he means business. Stellan Skarsgård, I know I keep going on about credits, but he's got 152 credits to his name on IMDb. If you want to go and look him up and do a bit of research and see what else he's been in, you're more than welcome to do it. Character wise, you don't really know a lot about this Luthen. You're just really guessing that he's part of the rebellion in some of the things that he says. He asks Cassian if you wouldn't rather fight the bastards face to face or something like that. So it seems pretty obvious that Luthen's going to recruit Cassian into the rebellion and take it from there. But no, brilliant. I'm glad that he's in the series. Who else do we have? We We have a pretty decent cast and a pretty decent supporting characters that surround Cassian and help him out. We've got Bix Kayleen, played by Adria Iona. She's some kind of mechanic or engineer or electrician or something like that. We find her working on speeders and stuff like that when we first meet her. She's got a boyfriend called Tim, who ends up being a dirty little grass. Tim's actually the one that gets in touch with the security firm once the bulletin goes out. They're looking for somebody that fits the description of Andor. Bix is a bit of a funny one. I don't even know if she's kind of a love interest for Andor. I'm not really sure. They seem pretty close, but I'm not sure of her purpose yet because she doesn't really do much other than mope around and look sad and be moody. I don't know if she's maybe on a period. I don't know. Don't really understand her role in the bigger picture. Good though. Both good, they both play the parts very well. Now then, as I said, the first episode pretty much deals with the murder and Andor trying to escape. He escapes from that planet, goes back home, tells lies, gets all his friends involved for an alibi. Second episode, I think he's discovered, so he's trying to leave the planet. Third episode is where all the action is. There is a really good, well, it's a gunfight. Once they discover where he is, kind of closing in on him, Stellan Skarsgård turns up, offers him a chance to join him and escape. And then they end up in a pretty good gunfight. To be honest, the performance that Kyle Soller gives is just amazing. You can see that he's never been in combat before. Reminds me a lot of Gorman from Aliens. He reminds me a lot of Gorman, who was the inexperienced, he was the leader of the Space Marines or whatever they call themselves. Very similar, very shell-shocked when he sees the carnage that's going off around him. Anyway, Andor and Luthen escape on a speeder bike. And that's it, they take off in Luthen's spaceship and away they go, and that's the end of episode 3. Now then, was there any stupid shite in it? Absolutely nothing compared to the likes of Boba Fett, which was just nonsense. And don't even get me started on Obi-Wan Kenobi. There was one instance that I didn't really understand. He goes to his friend Zan. He says, I need a lift off-world. He needs to get off the planet. His friend says, okay, hang on, I'm just looking at this bulletin that's come through. They're looking for a guy from Canary. Have you seen anything? Andor says, no, I don't know what that is. Oh, well, the security guards are after this guy, trying to find him. There's been a murder. Sorry, what was it you wanted? Yeah, I want to get off. I want to get off the fucking planet as soon as possible, please. How much? Oh, $700 or whatever. 700 space dollars. Right. I don't want you to tell anybody that I'm going. All right. Just I need to get off. Oh, okay. When do you need to leave? In the next hour. Don't tell anyone. I mean, that's not suspicious, is it? It's not suspicious at all. That was the only stupid thing that I could think to mention. The rest was pretty okay. It was a fairly mediocre sci-fi show, if you like. It wasn't outstanding. However, I am quite looking forward to episode 4 because I'm a nosy bastard and I want to know what happens next. So yeah, Andor is pretty good. But I don't know if that is because the rest of Disney Star Wars is absolute fucking shite. And it didn't need to be. Just didn't need to be. And yet here we are. Anyhow, that's enough bullshit from me. If you like the video, please subscribe. If you don't like the video, don't subscribe. Please leave a comment in the comment section down below because I want to know what you think. Please consider subscribing because that would help the channel very much. And I'll see you again next time in the next video. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.